Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark Reeter, and I am a candidate for the position of Newark City Manager. It's good to see everyone today. And I've been asked to make a brief presentation on economic development and sustainability, and to hold my presentation to about 10 minutes, so we'll go ahead and get started moving forward. Like nearly everyone in America, Newark is interested in continued economic development and wants to make such development sustainable into the future. And we want to make sure that the development can be enjoyed by all residents. My topic today is what would be my suggested plan to balance the need for continued economic development and the desire to ensure that the community is sustainable into the future so that it can be enjoyed by all residents. And who, meaning what stakeholders, would I involve in developing my plan, and what components would I want to make sure to include in the plan to balance economic development and sustainability. What do we mean by economic development? What's Newark seeking to achieve? Economic development is the creation of a multifaceted economic base that includes all aspects of industry, business, and community enhancements that provide opportunities for the city's citizens and makes Newark an attractive location. It means the creation of new jobs for new and expanding business, the creation and expansion and retention of the city's existing economic assets that will result in new taxable assets for new revenue sources, expanding taxable assets, that is growth from the existing sources, protection and retention of businesses which stabilize and help grow the city's economic base. We also want to look at fostering assets in the community which attract new business and industry. We want to protect and enhance Newark's physical, socioeconomic, educational, and cultural environment. What do we mean by sustainability? Ensuring sustainability in economic development means setting and addressing the following goals. We want to focus on the well-being of the entire Newark population by fostering a healthy, vibrant, and safe, as well as connected residential community across all of the socioeconomic levels within the city. We want to create a diversity of employment opportunities, housing, and commercial opportunities for our residents. We want to foster a strong economy with growth and development opportunities for business and industry. We want to provide education and advancement opportunities, and we want to offer a well-managed growth of government services to meet both the current and future demands of the community. Economic development and sustainability are not independent, but rather they rely upon a holistic approach for long-term success. All right. How do we approach developing a holistic approach to economic development and sustainability? Well, in 2011, Newark had the foresight to develop an economic development and strategy plan. And basically the vision statement of that plan said that by 2020, Newark would be internationally recognized as a regional hub for science, technology, higher education. Also in its research, science, and technology sector, it will be the core of a diversified economy, providing well-paying jobs for workers from a multi-state area. This was a very forward-thinking vision statement and has enabled the city to achieve many successes in the past decade. But as we enter the next decade, we need to look for a more holistic approach to economic development and sustainability that will help ensure the city's long-term success. We want to promote economic development solutions that tie together and integrate the sustainability goals that we will set, rather than a fragmented approach that will meet one goal, but not perhaps or at the expense of other goals. All right, who are the stakeholders in the city's future economic development? Essentially, every Newark resident, business, and institution is a stakeholder. All need to be enlisted to bring their different perspectives regarding the new holistic plan. These would include, but are not limited to, city residents in the neighborhoods across all the socioeconomic strata and locations within the city, business and industry, both locally owned as well as large corporations, the educational institutions. Of course, the university will be a significant role in the city's future, the county and other state, local, and regional agencies, and finally, but not least, city government agencies such as folks like yourself that are involved with planning, public safety, public works, health and social services, transportation, and recreation. All of these folks are stakeholders in the plan that we need to begin to develop moving forward. What are the key components? First of all, we need to update the 2011 Economic Development Strategy and Action Plan. As we near the 2020 target date, we need to revisit that plan to reflect the changing economy, things that have happened to Newark and to the national economy since the beginning of this decade, and to leverage the successes that we've had to date and set the tone for the next decade. We need to revisit the policy, redefine strategic goals and objectives, redefine the action steps and the schedules for the next decade. And we also need to involve the community and stakeholders with representation throughout that process. Secondly, we need to take a fresh look at the city's financial capacity and sustainability. We need to comprehensively review the city's finances to include revisiting an overall governmental and business type finances and the city's financial policies or fiscal policies. We need to look at multi-year CIP and funding plans. We need to review the operational performance and status of the enterprise funds that we have here in the community. We need to look at the historic funding of economic development projects and how we've gone about that. And then we need to evaluate whether we've leveraged and accessed the fullest potential for state and federal financing sources to assist in the economic development of the community. Thirdly, we need to look at the downtown corridor. We need to build upon Newark's successes with the downtown corridor to foster businesses with a connectivity to the city's attractive and vibrant downtown, to continue to enhance the livability of the city and transition more to a pedestrian-oriented type of community. And we need to leverage and enhance the city's award-winning bicycle trails and on a citywide basis to promote greater access and use. Fourth, city branding. We need to continue to build the city's brand as one of Delaware's principal economic, industrial, and academic centers. We do this by advocating the city's unique attributes, physical, educational, and cultural, through an enhanced economic development website and social media presence. And we also want to establish a more proactive and responsive economic and community development marketing program that essentially conveys Newark is a great place to live, work, and play. We need to look at our target industries. We've already identified a number of key target industries and trends that are complementary to the city's diverse economic sectors. But we need to revisit the target industry analysis that was done in 2011 with a focus on leveraging the city's demographic attributes. And we need to work to enhance the city's economic base with new development that has a long-term stabilizing effect, i.e. builds diversity. Partnering with the University of Delaware. That is going to be and continue to be a key partnership for the community in order to position itself further as a technology center in the New York, Washington, D.C. corridor, essentially the Mid-Atlantic region. We have great opportunities here for technology-based entities that can leverage the university's research facility and the Science, Technology, and Advanced Research campus. We need to be very proactive in our business communication. We need to bring business leaders in on a regular basis under some city-led business roundtables to develop policies and plans that will protect and retain the existing businesses and attract new complementary ones. We need to enhance the communication between the city and the business community on trends, events, and new developments. And we need to use analytics and data to develop programs that do not require more support than what is returned back to the community. And that essentially is a very simple definition of what sustainability is economic development that is affordable, that does not require more contribution from the community than it returns to the community. Citizen communication. Along with the business sector, we need to incorporate town hall style forums on a regular basis for citizen input in community planning and economic development. We need to continue to foster educational opportunities that encourage the business community to enhance educational opportunities for all levels by fostering partnership programs with the K-12 education system and the university. And finally, we need to look at a comprehensive transportation solution to the issues that are going on within the city to incorporate a comprehensive transportation planning process that takes into account increasing use of pedestrian and bicycle transportation technologies. This is a brief overview, essentially, of what I would propose as an approach as we move forward for the coming decade in terms of developing a more holistic approach to economic development. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all today, and I'll be happy to take some questions. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, directors and other guests or staff who are present today. I'm Vincent Jones, and today I will be discussing with you certain aspects of sustainability and economic development and whether they can coexist. The issues that I will cover.
Give it a spin if you want. No,
You got
the remote itself.
Okay, got it. All right, sounds good. There we go. The issues that I will cover are a plan for striking a balance with economic development and sustainability, what the plan looks like, and identifying and including the appropriate stakeholders. I have been guilty of using the words resiliency and sustainability interchangeably, but they are in fact different. Resiliency has to do with how we recover from events that take place in the short term, like the weather we are currently experiencing, and how we're able to keep the organization running. Sustainability has to do with those things that we plan for the long-term success and viability of the organization. So the answer to our question is yes, there can be a coexistence between sustainability and economic development efforts, right? Sustainable economic development defined means the investment in business, social, built, and natural environments that creates prosperity for all now and into the future. As a new member to the community, I would be remiss if I did not survey the existing landscape. What do we have in place that is currently working or can contribute to an improved approach? I've identified these three elements as foundation pieces that will be helpful in this plan. So I see that you have your comprehensive development plan that was recently updated. You also have your economic development strategy and your transportation plan, which could probably take some review or maybe some updating. But they are foundation pieces for sustainability. And it's good that you have those in place. All right. My plan approach would be to have a vision, and setting goals are important for any plan. It helps set the roadmap. Right? The goal for this plan is to strategically identify and implement sustainability and economic development practices that intersect and chart a course for a successful and sustainable Newark. Right? I would also establish a citywide sustainability officer. Right? We know that sustainability encompasses every subject matter that we have here with the city. And so that way we have one central location who sort of tracks what we're doing related to sustainability and make sure we can coordinate our efforts. That way we operate the most efficient manner possible. The next one is implement procedures for Newark SIAP. That's S-I-A-P. Has anyone ever heard of HIAP? Okay, I got something. Okay, all right. The World Health Organization has a policy called HIAP. It's HIAP. It's called Health in All Policies. And that's when you review all of your policies and procedures. For the World Health Organization, it's to make sure that healthy policies are in place or that your policies don't impact people's health negatively. For Newark, I would make sure that we have a SIAP policy, sustainability in all policies, which means our policies and procedures, as we move them forward, we will review them to make sure they are in fact helping us be a sustainable community. We don't, at a minimum, we don't want them to negatively impact our long-term sustainability. And last, I will follow it up with establishing measures and evaluating performance. You will see as we move further in the process that I will identify some critical components to our plan. And you want to make sure that when you have these components in your plan that you are in fact achieving results. And so I will just identify some examples of measures that you would use in these specific areas. Plan components. What impacts quality of life for all residents? With this list, I tried to capture the critical components of the plan. These are major categories of sustainability efforts that directly relate to and impact economic development. This means sustainability efforts in these areas or economic development efforts in these areas would contribute to a sustainable Newark. So for me, sustainable economic development, we gave you the definition to start, but I would make sure that we have programs in place that included business incubation. This is critical to generating the repeat business generation that you need in your community. Retention and expansion. Retaining existing businesses is a critical portion of economic development. Oftentimes businesses are in the community for years, and sometimes there is not involvement or a touch from the city. They simply just want to realize that the city is aware of them, appreciates their efforts, and also the business community is your greatest seller for the community. They in fact will help you generate other economic development prospects. And so letting them know that we appreciate their efforts here in the city goes a long way into that process, as well as expansion of businesses. If businesses are here and successful, we want them to know that we are available to assist them if they are in fact experiencing growth in business that will require them to expand. We don't want them to expand outside the city limits. So therefore, we would see what we could do to help them here. And of course, you know, recruitment is also a part of this process. A housing plan, and I specifically have identified infill and affordability as issues. I know that you all have wrestled with the issue of the rental housing stock that you have and how you make sure that that does not negatively impact the community, but we also want to make sure that it is affordable for people who work here. We don't want to be a community where people have to come in to work and then live elsewhere. We want them to be able to live and experience working here as well. And then infill redevelopment. I know that we have some older housing stock. You want to plan for success before you actually have a problem. And so as we are more successful in economic development, we are attracting more people, what you will find is infill development will be an issue. And so you want those procedures in place where you make sure when people come into the community that they redevelop housing that is in character with what we have here in the community. And next is workforce development. A lot of people don't consider workforce development. For me, workforce development is a critical component of economic development. And that is making sure that the residents here in Newark have access to training and are able to fulfill the workforce needs of businesses that are looking to locate here in the community. It is a growing aspect of economic development that should be part of a comprehensive approach. I also included transportation planning and infrastructure. There is evidence that shows communities that have strong mass transit systems in place subsequently attract economic development around those routes. And then historic preservation. That just goes back to making sure we recognize that we have historic assets here in the community, and we want to be sure that we can highlight those and keep those in place where possible. Community stakeholders. Who should we involve in this process? I'd like to capture as broad a level of support as possible for a plan like this. I think based on my perspective as a potential newcomer to the community, and similar to what other plans have, we would cast a wide net. And so I've identified our elected officials and city staff, Newark residents, the university, of course, our business and development community, and then any state and regional organizations, particularly those related to economic development and regional transportation. All right. So just to recap, my plan would assess current efforts. In addition to the overarching goal I identified, it would also establish goals for each of the major components that I identified. We would identify a sustainability coordinator, engage our community partners, and develop targeted success measures to track our progress. Thank you.